Welcome to episode 342 of the Postal Hub podcast. I'm Ian Kerr. In a moment, I'm joined by Kati Nevalainen. She's Director Parcel Services at the Finnish carrier Matkahuolto. We're going to talk about delivery in Finland and across the Nordic region. We'll talk about B2C delivery, B2B, out-of-home, cross-border and more. And for those parcel locker enthusiasts among you, stay listening for some very interesting perspectives on parcel locker delivery. So, coming up in just a moment, Kati Nevalainen, Director Parcel Services at Matkahuolto. Joining me on the line is Kati Nevalainen. She's Director Parcel Services at Matkahuolto. Kati, straight away I can tell you I haven't quite pronounced the company name right. How do you actually pronounce it?
It's called Matkahuolto. And if you think that our name Matkahuolto is too hard for you, you can just call us M8. We are easy like that.
Why don't you share a little bit about how the company came to be in parcel delivery? Because if I understand correctly, its background is actually in public transport or something like that. What's the story?
Behind this tricky name, Matkahuolto is Finland's second largest parcel service operator. Our market share in Finnish parcel market is approximately 15%, as we deliver currently about 20 million parcels annually, and our turnover is little less than 100 millions of euros. We have operated in Finland for over 90 years, so we are not any startup. And our roots are, as you said, in public transportation, especially in buses, as we are owned by Finnish bus companies and their associations. So we are quite a unique company, as beside these parcel delivery services, sell bus tickets in Finland and serve bus companies with, for example, software solutions. We also used to transport parcels with buses earlier, almost 90 years, but not anymore, as we made a renewal to our operational model last year. And currently we operate as any other logistics company by using trucks. We serve both domestic and international clients, mainly B2C e-com customers, but nowadays more and more also B2B organizations. What I'm especially proud of is that Finnish consumers have ranked Matkahuolto, or M8, as the most valuable and trusted brand, as well as the most sustainable brand in parcel services category in Finland. And we are now looking for a significant growth both internationally as well as in the domestic parcel market, with strong focus in customer experience, speed and reliability.
And I want to come back to a couple of things you just mentioned there, including sustainability and cross-border delivery. Let's just start with a bit about the domestic business. You mentioned the B2B and B2C. So I gather then you've got a bit of a mix then happening in your delivery networks. Not that you're focused purely on one, but what about C2C deliveries? Are they part of the mix as well?
Yes, of course. We have done C2C deliveries over 90 years and serve Finnish consumers with those C2C delivery services. We sell parcel sending services to Finnish consumers through our mobile application called Paketit, and also from our online sending platform. And we have seen a significant growth in C2C parcel business driven by circular economy and second-hand marketplaces. And actually nowadays, our C2C services are more often sold in different C2C platforms such as Tise, or how do you pronounce Tise, Tise.com or Tzada.com. So our C2C services cover the whole Finland, of course, but also through our partnerships, we enable to send parcels from Finland to other European countries, including the Baltic states and other Nordic countries.
Now, you just mentioned that you use the app for postage. I was going to ask, actually, if you had to buy a bus ticket for the parcels, but that's clearly not the case. When it comes to delivery, though, it's not just, you mentioned that you've got the logistics network that started off being in the luggage hold of buses, and now you've got your trucks running. Do you do residential delivery or delivery to parcel lockers or out of home? What kind of delivery are you doing?
Yes, we do a lot of deliveries through our out-of-home delivery network. And actually, over 90% of our parcels are delivered through service point network and something like 10% only to home addresses. And I think that the reason for that is that we Finns tend to avoid contacts to other people, and this has to be one of the most important reasons why we always prefer out-of-home delivery over the home deliveries. And we at Matkahuolto are proud that we know Finns and their love for parcel lockers and Finns' love for personal space. So if there is a parcel locker available, Finns will quite typically take that option over the service point where you should meet someone in person to get your parcel. And that's why we have almost 1,000 parcel lockers in our network, as well as over 1,500 service points across the nation, delivering all goods and items to even the most remote places. So we are near to all Finns, as over 60% of Finns live within 1 kilometer of the nearest Matkahuolto pickup point, and our rapidly expanding network of more than 900 parcel locker locations serves both indoors and outdoors. So we believe in partnerships in all we do. That goes also well with our service point network.
I wanted to ask about the parcel locker locations. When I was in Finland last year for the retail benchmarking workshop, I was at the train station and there was a Matkahuolto locker there. Are the lockers primarily located in public transport hubs, or is it just, or you mentioned partnerships, is that part of the way you've been able to find sites for parcel lockers?
Major part of our parcel lockers are located indoors. Quite typically, you can find them at the same places where our service points are. So in the biggest retail chains in Finland, meaning Kesko, S Group, and also in our kiosks. So we want to be where people are visiting on a daily basis with our parcel lockers and with our service points.
Let's talk about cross-border delivery, because you, Matkahuolto, I'm nearly there, everybody, made an announcement recently that you're expanding cross-border delivery into Sweden. How is that working? Is that through a partnership, or are you putting your own vehicles on the road? Tell us a little bit about what's happening.
I would start by telling you a bit about why we are interested in expanding our services with cross-border deliveries. First of all, beside domestic web shops, Finns are buying goods, especially from Chinese, German, and Swedish web shops. And as we at Matkahuolto are looking for a growth and want to gain market share, we have started to sell our services directly to the clients outside Finland. That's why we also participated in the D Congress in Gothenburg a few weeks ago, where we had a booth and good conversations with several potential Swedish e-com clients as well as partners. And majority of our current cross-border business is inbound volume coming outside Finland, either through our partners or directly from e-com clients. But we do have some outbound volume already from Finnish consumers and companies to other European countries where we have partnerships with Omniva. Somebody perhaps know Omniva better as Estonian Post, as well as we have a general logistics system, GLS, and also Bring, more known as Posten Norge. So Omniva and GLS are currently using our network in Finland for their deliveries here, and we are using Omniva's network for parcels from Finland to Baltics, as well as we are using GLS network for parcels from Finland to most European countries. And in Sweden, Bring is our partner, and by selling Bring services in Finland, we are not only strengthening our position in the Finnish parcel market, but also supporting Bring's aim to grow in the Swedish market. So if someone is now thinking that Matkahuolto would go to Sweden and start to build their own network there, the answer is no. We are relying on our partners and and operationally are focusing only in the Finnish market.
You mentioned sustainability earlier on and the importance of sustainability. What is happening in relation to sustainability at Matkahuolto at the moment?
According to the Sustainable Brand Index study, Finnish consumers perceive us as Finland's most responsible parcel and logistics brand, and we are, of course, very proud and thankful for that. We have drawn up a climate road that is guiding us to halving our emissions by 2030, and we are aiming at reducing transport emissions in Finland through various measures such as efficient route planning and shift to renewable energy sources. And for example, most of our domestic trunk transports are already now driven with renewable fuels. We are committed to science-based climate targets with our goal to be a zero-emission parcel operator by 2030. And we see a lot of customers and clients who are insisting us to do sustainable way. And of course, we want to make our part of sustainable issues to make sure that our children and their children will have a planet to live on. So sustainability is a very crucial part of our everyday work.
Kati, we've talked about the cross-border, we've talked about out-of-home delivery, we've talked about sustainability. Another really important aspect of delivery is the customer experience. So we did an interview just a few weeks ago with Rob King from Zedify talking about the customer experience and the importance of customer experience in delivery, how that relates to the online buying experience. What have you found when it comes to customer experience in delivery?
Out-of-home delivery is the most loved way of delivery in Finland. And as said, we have currently over 900 parcel lockers in our network, and we constantly monitor the service level of those parcel lockers, especially those parcel lockers, but of course, the whole out-of-home delivery network. And we believe that the satisfaction of e-com customers is significantly reduced if the parcel they order is redirected to a pickup point other than the one they have chosen from the webshop checkout. And however, this sometimes can happen, as especially the most popular parcel lockers, or can be fully every now and then. And our goal is to provide the recipient with as good customer experience as possible. And earlier, we didn't have any locker network of our own, but we used all 3 agnostic networks which were available in Finland. But last year, we noticed redirection of percentage in all agnostic parcel locker networks in Finland was getting too high. And we started to think, should we invest in a locker network of our own to insert the needed capacity and customer experience? So after a perfect timing in the beginning of this year, we finalized the acquisition of Smartmile parcel locker network in Finland. And that network consists of 150 parcel locker locations. And by doing that, we started to build a locker network of our own. And we are going to expand that network during the next years to support our strategic goals. But of course, beside our own parcel locker network, we will still use 2 agnostic locker networks in Finland, which we are currently having. So the other one is Lehtipistes network, which currently contains about 700 indoor locations, and also iBoxen network, which contains nearly 100 outdoor locations. So we constantly monitor redirections and publish that data on our website on a monthly basis. And actually, we are the only operator in Finland publishing our figures. And I'm not sure if there are any other operator who would do this in the whole world. So, for example, you can see from our website that last month, our overspill or redirection percentage was 11.4. And beside this redirection percentage, we are constantly monitoring the distance between the original pickup point and the so-called backup pickup point. And the average distance is currently 1.14 kilometers across Finland, but this of course varies by pickup point and region. And whenever necessary and of course possible, we make changes to ensure that the backup pickup point is as close as possible to the original point chosen by the recipient. So we think that it's not just a question of how many parcel lockers or compartments you have in your network, but it's also, and perhaps even more importantly, question of how you operate your out-of-home delivery network as a whole to make or serve best customer experience in the field.
That's a really interesting perspective, talking about the different customer experience when it comes to what we call carrier-specific parcel lockers and the carrier-neutral or the open parcel locker networks. Kati, if people want to find out more about Matkahuolto, and even if they want to look up the stats that you were just mentioning, what's the web address they should go to?
It's www.matkahuolto.fi.
I will put a link to that on the episode page on thepostalhub.com. So if you are listening to this while you're out and about, when you get back to your computer, go to thepostalhub.com. Oh, you can look it up on your phone while you're out. What am I talking about? You've probably got a smartphone. It's not like you're out there. Anyway, people, you know what I'm going to get to. I'm going to post the link on thepostalhub.com. So I'll look for the episode page and you'll be able to find that link there. Kati Nevalainen, Director Parcel Services at Matkahuolto. Thank you very much for joining us on the Postal Hub podcast today.
Thank you. It was really nice to be here.
Coming soon on the Postal Hub podcast, we're going to talk about cargo bikes and electric vehicles. We're going to talk about reporting carbon emissions in the last mile. Make sure you don't miss any of these episodes. Subscribe to the podcast in your favourite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the Amazon one, the name of which eludes me. Amazon Music, that sounds right. Let's say it is. Let's say it's called Amazon Music. Subscribe anyway. Subscribe in all of those platforms. I don't mind. But you'll get each episode of the podcast downloaded to the device of your choosing as it is released. Subscribe to one of my email newsletters while you're at it. Go to thepostalhub.com and you'll see there are a few subscribers. I'll get it in a second, but there are a few newsletters you can subscribe to over there. You can follow me on LinkedIn. You don't have to connect with me if you don't want to. You can just follow me. That's nice. And if you want to email me about anything at all, my email address is ian@thepostalhub.com. I'm Ian Kerr. Thanks for listening in. I look forward to your company next time on the Postal Hub podcast.